Hello everyone, this is your host Srisha Akela and I welcome you back to another great episode of Life Musings by Dr. Padmaja Nandigama. Parent-child relationship. Today's episode, that is for parents who may be experiencing some frustrations when it comes to parenting. We are revisiting this topic on request from our audience, and Dr. Padmaja Garu will be addressing several ways to make that relationship between parent and child more effective. She's a psychology faculty, life coach, motivational speaker, and also an academic advisor. Welcome back, Padmaja Garu.
Thank you, Sirisha. Thanks for the warm welcome. Yeah.
Thank you. So let's start from the beginning. So from when should we start having rules in the house?
As you said, we got so many requests saying that we want to that we should be talking more about parent-child relationships. Because as they say, our relationship with our parents and with our children never ends, right? It's a lifetime job, and when we have our kids, we forget that, we have to put discipline rules right away when we have them, because we think that we are the only ones having the kid, and we think that they are the prince and princesses that have come into our lives and give whatever and pamper them silly, but sometimes, what our parents did or what our grandparents did seem to be right, meaning have some discipline right from the start. It's tough. But then you have to have those ground rules right away. Because what happens is, like, if you don't set the pattern, the child is going to take over you, and then they would start controlling you. So I would say right from, the child is very young, very, very young, I would say even like 6 months or even younger than that, you should start having rules, meaning you should small rules, depending upon the age. So you should have that pattern set, the schedule set.
Okay. So what can parents do to improve the academic performance in a kid?
Yes, very good question. Because, here everything is about independence. Once the kid is in middle school, they would say, I want a room, I am sitting in my room, I'm doing work, or you don't disturb me, I want privacy. What privacy? You are living in my house, I'm paying your bills, so you are sitting, with me, or, and here parents also should show interest in the activities of the kids. They should show interest right from the beginning, not when, suddenly their grades drop and now you are in the panic mode and running around, not knowing what to do. So, you should cultivate a habit, like after they come back from school, you should check on them, asking how they're doing in school, if they need any help, and if they are struggling, if you can help, maybe you can teach them a little math, or, work with them. Or work with their teachers. So that way they will feel that, they can do it and they get that help they're needed. Some parents complain oh, I can't do this, I'm busy. Then get mentors. There are mentors, or your older children can help them. So you should be involved. Because if you're not involved right from the beginning, and if you lose control over the children's performance, you should be, then you should worry about how to manage their behavior. Because once they start failing, or once they start doing poorly in the academics, everything grows downhill. Their behavior, their social activity, it will go on to the other side, which you don't want. And also when I say be involved. I don't mean to be controlling.
Yeah,
Micromanage. Don't do that. There is a subtle way. You have to learn that. You might say, oh, how would I know that subtle line?
Thin line.
Thin line.
Yeah, very hard.
Yeah, very hard. And many parents get into this habit of oh, how much did you get? 80. What happened to your 95? That kid from next door.
Yeah, that's a great Indian parents.
That's a great Indian parents. I don't care what you got, but what I care is what the other person or the student next door got.
Yes.
So you should be careful with those comparisons, because if you fall into that loop of comparing, it's going to be detrimental both to the kid and your parenting style. So don't be that helicopter parent. Don't constantly nag the kid, but then you have to be involved. Be a involved parent rather than controlling parent.
Should that be the drone kid?
The drone kid, yeah.
Instead of helicopter.
Helicopter, yeah. So you should learn to manage that. Which one you want to be, So because what happens is, once you set that pattern, if you are the helicopter parent, now the kid will start hiding things from you.
Yes.
Running away from this controlling attitude. So recognize their strengths, encourage their strengths, and help them improve their weaknesses. So you have to give them that resources. And many parents ask me, my kid doesn't listen to me. They're running around. They're not doing their work. How do I manage? Observe your behavior, right? Don't tell them to work while you're watching TV. The kid immediately are going to say, well, you are watching TV.
Right.
Well, why should I be working? So create that environment where, when they are working, when they are doing something related to schoolwork, you are calmly doing your own stuff or doing some household stuff, give them a feeling that, you are also involved in that, and you are creating that quiet space for them so that they can work. Don't expect that they will be working and while you are partying.
So then moving on to the young adults.
Right. Yes.
So how can parents foster that healthy relationship with their young adults in terms of life choices?
Yes. Here, when we talk about young adults, the child moves away from home and now you are an empty nester. The child is going to make some choices which you like, which you don't like, but always keep that communications lines open and may understand that, obviously you're not going to like what they're going to do on many platforms. So you have to adjust, times change, whatever was working in your times will not work now, and vice versa. So you have, but then, keep the communication lines open. And if there is a conflict, take a step back. Take a step back and wait for them to come back. Don't try to resolve the conflict right then and there in your way. So when you take a step back, you will come out of that pattern. I read somewhere that we all have certain patterns. Say, for example, if you're having an argument with your teenager on her socializing habit, she has a pattern of reacting to you. You have a pattern of reacting to her. So you both are in this constant set patterns throughout your life or throughout her life, right? So now, whatever it is, she's going to say this, you're going to say this. You're not going to listen to her, she's not going to listen to you. So when and when you're set in these patterns, you're not going to move forward, and that conflict is never going to resolve. So what you need to do is step back and you change your pattern. So instead of arguing with her, take a step back and listen to her. And when you listen to her and when you change your pattern, she's going to realize what just happened here. She was supposed to argue with me, right? Why did she take a step back? So she's going to contemplate and say, okay, maybe now mom has stretched her side, giving me a chance to speak. So she will try to change her pattern to listen to you and come to a mediating position. So you have to break that pattern. This is like a Confucian philosophy, actually, changing our pattern of thinking.
And I'm pretty sure a lot of mom friends of mine will resonate with this a lot.
Definitely.
Because we are going through that.
Yes. And I would confess that I have tried this in my life and it works. It works. First of all, it gives you peace of mind, so from there you can work. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Just take small
steps. Yeah. You know,
and more.
Yeah.
So we have not touched this aspect before,
right?
But can you throw some light on the dynamics between the older parent, the our parents,
right.
and then their children, like us,
right?
So we like you always say, sandwich generation.
Yes. Yeah. See, that is a very, very good topic. I want to talk about this topic because there are the millennials, as they say, born around 80s to 90s, are the generation where they are this multi, generation. Where they're taking care of multiple generations.
Correct.
And they are called as sandwich generations, where they are taking care of their children and they are taking care of their older parents. Right. So what happens is they have extra stresses, and they're also working. So now they are taking care of their children, they're working, their work stress, and they have a stress of the parents. And now on top of this, we have this pandemic added to this. Right. So with the pandemic, what has happened is many of our adult children moved back home because, they're all telecommuting. Some of them probably have relocated, or some of them have changed their jobs. And for our older parents, if they were living in facilities or if they were living in separate households, because of this social distancing and, pandemic rules, they probably moved with us, or the care facilities have changed, the rules and regulations. So you had to step in and take more responsibility. Correct. So what has happened is, or you probably lost your job, or you have changed your jobs and you're working at home. Yeah. So all these changes has created extra stress on this sandwich generation. Yeah. So what happens is, you have to understand that this is going to be there for some time at least. Exactly. Yes, this is not a permanent thing. Obviously, unfortunately, it might change in a way that your parent might pass away. Then your responsibility will, change on that end. Right. But then during this time, when you're taking care of the two generations, your responsibility and your stresses increase. Definitely. Yeah. So with that stresses, we are getting really sandwiched. We are getting pressed from both sides, and we are paying the price. Yeah. We are paying the price in terms of our mental health, our physical health, our psychological health. So how do we balance this? Is the next question. So what I would say, and I can say this to you because I am a sandwich parent. I was a sandwich parent. Unfortunately, I lost both my father-in-law and my father during the pandemic. But what we have learned is, while balancing both your children and your job and your parents, you have to focus on yourself. You have to take those little breaks while you balance your life, because you need the carer. The carer has to be taken care. Right. Otherwise you're going to crash. Right. If you crash, the whole system in your house is going to crash. That's right. Because you're that important. You're playing that pivotal role. Yes. Right. So, and also delegate help. Don't feel shy to ask help. You should ask help and lean in. Obviously, talk to your friends and your family who are going through the same situation. Keep your family in loop. About the situation of your parents and vice versa. Right. And on top of this, talk to your employer. During this pandemic, one thing that has come out is most employers have been very gracious, very helpful. They're very open, accommodating too. Very, very accommodating, So use those resources. Talk to your manager. That empathy has been shown, and take advantage of that. And with that small steps, but also understand that this is for a short time. As I said, things will change. As I said, one end will close, but then at that point of time, try to enjoy, that you are being needed. You are having that full plate right now, right? Because in few years down, you may not have that, option or the opportunity to enjoy that fullness. That's true. Right. So do you have any tips for
for the sandwich generation like us who are not, in their own country.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Here, what I would say is, your friends are your family.
Yes.
Right? Your friends are your family. And especially if your parents who are living with you here, for them, the added stress is, they can go out, they can drive by themselves. Culturally, they are constricted, limited resources. They are either watching TV or going to the temple now and then.
Right.
So, create your own group. Create your own group. And with this WhatsApp, the biggest pro for the networking is that you are connected, FaceTime, having your friends who are in the same boat, pitching the ideas, and pitching your family too, as your siblings, so that way, and leaning into your own friendship groups really helps. So I would say that always stay connected, stay connected and understand that you need to vent it out.
Yes.
Don't bottle it out. So yeah. And from your parents' perspective, they become children. They're growing older. They become children. Their needs are more to the sense that they have to be taken care more than physically, emotionally. They want somebody to be there so that they can talk.
Listen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Listening is what. And the biggest advantage here, you have to see the positive things. Biggest advantage having your older parent with you is you have a big source of support system in the house, and love and affection and the guidance that they impart to your children. Your children just learn the wisdom, the tales, the everything about their culture. They provide this cultural identity right in your own house. So it is like having your mini India in your house when you have your parents here. Because your children, knowingly, unknowingly, they're going to chat with them. They're going to exchange those, anecdotes with your older parent, and you can substitute with anything.
And they're literally like an encyclopedia. They know everything.
And
their experience.
Definitely. And the biggest advantage, again, my personal example, I could tell you that, having my father living with me here gave me an advantage of where I could go and look at my career, where both I and my husband could work on our careers while our dad helped us babysit our kids or watch them do their homework, while I went and taught in the college. So that kind of support system, I would not get anywhere, so.
And I bet the grandkids might have bonded really well.
Oh, really well. It's like, I would say that probably bonded more with the granddad, because that kind of pampering which they do, is better than what parents do, so it just enriches. Just enriches everybody's life. And then you have a support system too as a parent. You can talk to them. You are gaining a lot of wisdom and guidance in your career, knowledge, advice. So, think it as a positive thing. As I say all the time, think everything in the positive perspective, half glass full versus half glass empty, so you just have to manage in a smart way, so
Great advice. Hopefully this will strengthen the bond between you and your child.
Yes.
Thank you, Padmaja Garu, again for your thoughts on this. I really loved this session.
I mean, as I said, living here, having your own piece of cultural identity in your house is the best way, and it comes through your parents. So, whatever you are because of your parents.
That's true.
So,
Thank you for joining us from past 10 weeks. It has been a great journey. Hope it is helping your friends and family. Please watch us live on YUPP Network. And for repeat telecast, subscribe to Mana TV YouTube and our Facebook page.